from MusicRadar.com, and we're here with the one and only Steve Aoki. First time in Prague.
Yeah, it's my first. Oh, you know, I was actually here before when I was with the band. I was tour managing. So it's been a long time, you know, a different era of my life for sure.
And it must be rare that you arrive somewhere for the first time nowadays.
Well, this is definitely the first time I ever played in Prague.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that, and I'm just happy. I walk right in. I see a bunch of friends, Tommy Trash, and Nervo, and Chucky. So you know, in good company, playing a crazy show like this, like first time, awesome.
So, tell us what's in store tonight. This is the big festival Steve Aoki performance that we've come to see all over online and all over the festivals for the last few years.
Well, what's exciting for me is that I'm always adapting my set with new music. So this set is going to be comprised with about like 6 to 7 brand new tunes that aren't even out yet.
And your tunes, or one from Dim Mak? Or?
Yeah, like actually there'll be maybe 2 from Dim Mak. One's actually they're out right now. Showtech, Slow Down, been playing that one. But like on my own records, collaborations, as well as just like my own records from my album.
So
coming out, like my new album coming out.
How much of your set is your own stuff now? What percentage would you say? I mean,
I'd say like, you know what? There was a period of time when I really kind of crossed from just DJing and like playing some of my own records to eventually I was just playing my own sets when I was doing like my own proper tours. It was all just my music, and now I'm like going back and evolving into like being creative and spontaneous with my sets and playing other stuff. So I'd say like it would be like still like about 90% my own records.
So would it be nice to do slightly longer sets now? Because I mean that's where you get to be really, you know, to build and groove more on a thing. I mean.
Right. I mean like this particular set for this European tour, I've been really caning the Noise Controller Showtech record as like my closer, and I still drop Beatdown as like my finale, but like as far as new stuff, I have this new record called Aoki Jump that I wrote with Rehab, a new one with Chris Lake and Tujamo called Boneless, which I'm gonna open with, and another one that I don't have a name for yet for my album off of Neon Future. Two new collaborations I did with Knife Party called Pile Driver, and another one with Flux Pavilion that I played towards the end.
So most of these collabs, like many DJs, are they remote collabs, just sending files, Dropboxing backwards and forwards, or do you ever get a chance to actually be with people in the studio now?
It's like my earlier collabs were all studio collabs, like the one I did with Afro, Afrojack, Laidback, Luke. The Knife Party one, I worked in the studio, in the Pendulum Studios with Rob and Garrett for 2 very long 12-hour sessions. And that was awesome because working with Gaz and Rob and seeing how they understand and really dive into sound design with a scalpel and a surgical hand is incredibly impressive.
I mean, I've seen you say in interviews before that the producing side is the side that you always think is the main thing you're learning all the time. Like, there's no limit to.
Right.
I mean,
well, that's one thing is like, once you find a sound that you really feel like you've mastered, 4 months later, it's time to readapt it. I mean, it's constantly, you can always find a better sound, and also sounds, especially like the way we listen to music now and people digest music, they kind of get dated, especially if it's like, if it works really well, then that sound's going to be already cycling through the world, so you have to kind of redo it. For example, Pile Driver, which is the record I did with Knife Party, we wrote that like over a year ago. So I've been playing it, and I know Rob and Gaz have been playing it for the last year in our sets. So we haven't even put it out yet. So finally, me and Gaz worked back in the studio again, but in my studio in LA, and are reworking the drop with new sound design.
Because it was starting to sound like it was an old record.
It sounded like, because it's very much like the knife party tools.
Yeah.
Like I'm working in the knife party shop with them, and I'm like honored. Trust me, like I'm fucking fully honored to be working with these guys.
So what are the Steve Aoki tools in the studio? What are the tools in the studio that you couldn't live without? What software, hardware? What are the sound or things you go to?
I mean, I'm a Logic guy, and you know, my main thing is silent and massive. I mean, I pretty much live on silent, and you know, just like constantly reworking that. Like that's my I use bassism for like, you know, my kicks, and you know, just try to be creative.
And can you be creative on the road? Do you find it easy? Do you find it tough? I mean,
it all depends on the amount of sustained time I have, because like on like a tour like this, where I'm flying so many places, like on this European ride, I'm doing 17 shows in 13 days, so it's somewhere like 2 shows a day, and there's just no time. Like I could start something, but like it won't be able to flesh anything out. But previously, I just did a bus tour for 3 weeks with Kendrick Lamar, and being on the bus, I was able to be pretty creative. So I gotta finish. I mean, like I brought my monitors with me, so I didn't really.
What monitors?
Dynaudios.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I have a
DM5s or something.
Yeah. The smaller ones, the ones I could transport easily. I didn't bring my sub, but just something where I could hear it. And like, you know, you like mess around with your headphones and even like the bus speakers.
Yeah.
Like I was like hearing it all levels, testing them out. You know, I was like testing out records. But like you really miss a lot not being in a proper studio.
So what about headphones then? What's your headphone of choice? Because it's quite important. Do you have a different studio headphone to a DJ headphone?
I just use I use Pioneers.
Yeah, the 2000s.
I was using Beats by Dre in the beginning, and it's really deceiving because it's so bassy already. So you really miss a lot. You hear the bass and you're like, all right, and then you play it out, you're like, what the fuck? So no offense to Beats by Dre, but like,
no, they're meant for the end user really, rather than the studio guy, aren't they? I guess.
Right.
But,
and I mean, I have Soul Republics that I use as well, like to test out different sound qualities as well. So, well, you know, at the end of the day, I think before I'm like totally gonna let it go, I'm gonna be working in my own studio.
Okay, I have to mention this because I walked through the crowd earlier and somebody had a massive sign saying, "Cake me, Steve." You'll see it. How did this all start, this whole caking people? Because this has become like, it became like an internet sensation, and it seemed like it was something you did like off the cuff, and it's become a thing. I mean, is that true, or was it a plan? Or?
Yeah, well, it was actually, you know, obviously on my label Dim Mak. So, at the beginning of 2011, one of the artists on the label called Autoerotic, they put out this song called "Turn Up the Volume," and the music video went viral. Like in a month, it was like 200,000 views with an artist that still wasn't like that big. They're still like really underground. But the music video went viral because it was incredible, like slow motion, art direction was amazing of people getting caked in the face. So I was like, I like literally woke up one morning going, I could cake people during this song, make this weird like connection without saying it, and then I would on every cake I put Autoerotic, Turn Up the Volume. And I would play the song, promote the song, and cake people during the song. But eventually, after 6 months, I retired the song. But by then, people were holding up "Cake Me" signs and fucking like, this is back like, you know, like 2 years ago. And I just couldn't retire the cake. So
is there a cake tonight?
I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure there is. It's in my rider, so.
You've never done one with candles on though, that's too dangerous.
No. And it's all about fun, safe, you know, energetic crowd, you know, like it's all like to keep it cool. It's like, I mean, the cakes, we even make sure that they're gonna be comfortable.
to
like,
take?
Yeah, no, just like, so like when it hits you in the face, it's like, it's more like a pillow.
So do you have people you test the cakes on?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty good. I usually like test out the width, but English cakes are tough.
They're too fruity, too dense.
But they're like hard.
Yeah.
They're like bricks. So like
you could kill a guy with that.
I won't do that. But like we actually have like a sound test.
It's more like a pie, isn't it? American pie.
Yeah,
rather
right.
than the cake.
It's like before the show we have our sound testing, you know, like sound checking everything. and we also have our cake testing. So just to make sure the cakes are like, you know, we want to make sure like it's supposed to feel good, and like the explosion puts you like, you know, I've made cakes. It's fucking. When you want to get cakes, it's pretty awesome.
When is this going to end though? I mean, like, this has become, like you say, it's got out of control. I mean,
right? You know what? It's like
you're gonna have to do a new music video.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I always bring in new entertainment ideas to my set, and some they don't last, and some last. So I just go with the flow. Like, people love riding on a raft over people. People love watching other people get caked, and people love getting caked that want to get caked. So like, I'm always adding. I used to like bring out super soakers, and then the super soakers were too like fine of a spray, and it like didn't feel good. Like they want, if you want to get wet,
you need champagne though.
Yeah, I want to be like sprayed out. You know, like, so I'm like always trying to add more elements that are realistic. So I'm like I'm always thinking of like, how can I bring in more elements to make a show memorable, fun, exciting,
and unique, I guess.
Yeah, and like, it's all about the music though, you know.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, let's go back to that while we sort of wrap up. How has your tech rider changed? Are you CDJs now and Pioneer all the way?
I use that. Pioneer I've always used. CDJs, yes, I've used, and I do like most of my sets video Serato. So it's like there's no other software that does this. That has like, you know, it's still like a little buggy, but like for the most part I can pretty much play my sets without fail.
So do you commission videos for each track that you want to play?
Right.
Yeah.
And like tonight there'll be like, since I'm playing a lot of new, I've done a lot of new mashups to my records just to like give them new life. It'll be like half of it will be dark because I'm still working on new video.
Yeah.
Because that's a long process too.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I'll like come up together with a concept or idea, and I'll work with these video guys that create the concepts.
But I guess is that the only way to stay in control, so you can play whatever you want in whatever order you want? Otherwise you have to work with sync or do a rehearsal or...
Yeah, it's like well, like here it's, for example, I'll do like, it'll be like 40% video because I've really just like
loads of new tracks.
Yeah, I put a lot of, and then my original tracks I've like, you know, done mashups, so that way I can do you know, whatever. So because of that, like, it's like each song I have to go back to like the video guys to make. So now I still want to be able to DJ all this new stuff. So to me, it's like that's more important than having like a full video set at the moment.
Yeah, because you want to keep pushing forward.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I've asked this to everyone. Worst DJ gig, like as in DJ disaster. You know, you've shown up and they've not got any equipment or something. You must have had some of these. Tell us about your worst DJ gig. You don't have to mention names or countries or anything, just something where you just couldn't believe it was happening.
Well, like, okay, honestly, the video Serato, it can be a nightmare because it's still like, it's still buggy, but there's nothing like it. So Tractor doesn't have anything like it. Like, you know, it's either you go DVDJs or you do video Serato, or you have like a guy doing visuals. I mean, I know Ableton has it. You can go Ableton for video, obviously, it's all coded, but you're not DJing when you're doing Ableton. So I don't like that. I did that once, I didn't like it. It didn't feel right, you know. So yeah, but like there's a couple times last summer where like at one festival, 30 minutes of dead air. 30 minutes of dead air, and I was headlining.
Okay.
I was headlining. So I was like sitting there going, holy shit. And then Tomorrowland last year, the most epic set of my career, 10 minutes of dead air after David Guetta set.
Mid-set or start?
No, the start.
Okay.
Thank God.
Start is better than in the middle though.
Yeah, so David Guetta gets off and I'm like closing Tomorrowland, day 3. And like my tour manager's always setting it up because he's like knows the video shit. So he's setting it all up and my computer, I just want to look at the computer, keeps crashing. I got a backup. Crash. I'm like, holy shit, this is like one of the most important sets, you know, of my year, if not like my career. And there was a moment there I thought that was.
So what happened? I mean, we're nerds. So what happened?
I don't know. We never really
just worked.
Yeah, it just like trial and error, troubleshooting every possible scenario. in the end, we never really figured out what was the technical bug, but it ended up being all right.
Yeah.
Just 10 minutes of fucking frightening moment of my set.
And last question, who are the big artists in your world at the moment? Who should people look out for? Like real ones that...
Actually, another funny story. I was playing in Germany at like, I think it was Hurricane Festival or something, and I was on the DJ booth, like twisting a knob or something, and I was on the mic. All of a sudden, this like flying neon stick flies up towards me, and literally, like, perfectly hits the power button on the Pioneer CDJ.
Oh my god!
You know, like the power button right here. It like literally like boom hits it. Like I couldn't believe the odds of that happening.
And that was the one that was playing, and it just went.
Yeah. It was like I literally was like, you don't understand the odds of this happening right now. Whoever did that, you're like, you better like pat yourself on the back, because that was incredible. Like I know you didn't mean to do that. I made this whole speech about it, like during the show. I was like, what the fuck? I can't fucking believe what I just saw.
Artists, I mean, like who should people look out for? Like, what have you new artists that you're really like into?
New artists.
Who are Dim Mak sniffing around?
All right, Clockwork is like he's also known as R.O. Grime, incredible producer. We got tons of Clockwork stuff coming out. Autoerotic, you know, I've been supporting him for a while. He's always writing like, to me, the next level club bangers. Dioro is another great guy from LA, incredible engineer, incredible producer. We just put out his EP, hit #1 on Beatport. I mean, Showtek was a big one for us. You know, like I think those guys are probably one of the best like producers and songwriters, as well as just like, you know, like they could write any genre. Like obviously from hardstyle to electro, and they go back and forth. And love these guys. Love Showtek. Keys and Crates. They're like trap guys from Canada. Like they're a band. They're like, they write like a band. Awesome producers.
I mean, trap's like this whole emerging thing that's sort of out of the LA scene, really. I mean, it's sort of just coming across to Europe now.
Right. Yeah, it's really popular all over America.
I mean, do you think it'll stick? I mean, because there's been a few things like Moombahton and stuff that have stuck more in America. They haven't really, even though they kind of, like Moombahton didn't kind of come out of Holland, I think, but it really took off in the States because it had that kind of hip hop vibe to it. Do you think trap will stick?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's like, that BPM is easy to work with. I think if it was in its own BPM category, like 100 BPM, like I know there's like now a new like a new 100 BPM category emerging that I've heard. You know, like that sounds cool, but it's like you can't really mix it with anything else. So with trap, since you could mix it with dubstep and more of that, like that kind of that tempo,
main room sound.
Yeah, you could really like go back and forth pretty easy. Moombahton is tough unless you have records that already transition to 110, or you're just gonna like
just do it.
Just go into it. But I mean, it's hard to say what's gonna last and what's not gonna last, though. You know, because things change so fast. But
what would you put your money on? As Dim Mak head boss, what would you put your money on? If you could bet on dubstep, Moombahton, and trap, what would you bet on?
For now, I don't even know, man. I hate those bets. I can't even tell you. I know 4 on the floor are the best, to be honest with you. I'm a 128 BPM guy. Like I dabble in other worlds, but 128's like, that's where I feel most comfortable. So like that's where I'm gonna probably, that's where like 80% of my heart is, you know? Like I'm really, that's where my head's at too.
You try, but you always come back to that.
Yeah, I mean, like we have like on my next album, Neon Future, I have a couple of trap records that I was writing, and working with dubstep producers, you know, I've really learned how to write, you know, more music in other tempos, you know. So working with Flux, like on this record, is one of the places hopefully you'll hear it, because it's a pretty awesome record. I mean, like I'm writing more emotional records right now, like really focusing more on like just writing the best melodies I can, and then working everything else out later. Like that's my main focus, like melody arrangements.
And is writing still the most important thing to support your DJ career? I mean, for you, I mean, because like you say, you have this sort of entertainment package as DJ, which not every DJ does. but you're still like, you know, you're talking there so much about writing and emotional records and stuff. I mean, how is that balance? Is it tough? Because you could probably give up making records now in your career and still have a pretty strong DJ career for a long time, right?
I think I could have a strong, if I stopped producing music, I could have a career for maybe a number of years, and then it would taper off, and I would probably, like, you know, do smaller shows. But like, my passion is in, I've been writing music and being in bands since I was a teenager. Like, it's just like part of me, you know? So I don't think I could ever really let that go. But, you know, it's I mean, there's a different feeling of finishing a song that you really love and being proud of it, and also like doing a fucking incredible gig. You know, like they're both great feelings. So, and this album is my best work I've ever done.
Okay.
Neon Future, my new album coming out.
And when's it out?
I know for a fact I'll be dropping singles. It's gonna be a lot like Wonderland was all really like vocal collaborations, and Neon Future is like 70% vocal, and then I'm like work with a few other producers on a couple records like Flux. We did a record together. We're hoping Rita Ora can do the vocal. I think Pile Driver is going to be on the album too, the one I did with Night Party.
Okay.
And this record I did with Chris Lake and Tujamo. We're going to put it on my album and also on Chris's album.
And
this boneless record. So I'm going to open with it.
So when can they expect this? Just to wrap up, when's the album due to drop? Would you say?
I hopefully end of the year, but Boneless, the first single off the album, is going to come out in June.
Perfect. Well,
and that's a fun like club record. Like,
yeah.
It's a different record than I usually do.
Well, you're getting called away, but so much fun talking to us about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Have a good set. We'll speak to you soon.
Awesome.